So I'm just going to hit a few high points for you, and, because I know Dr. Krieg has got a lot more valuable information for you than I do. But I do want to share a few things with you that I think will situate what Tim has said as far as water is concerned. One of the things I really want to make you aware of is, one of our objectives is to demonstrate new technologies that might aid in water conservation and water efficiency. In 2013, we started what we call field walks, where we would go to the same fields on about a 3-week interval, looking at cotton, corn, and grain sorghum. And we would have the new technologies installed in those fields, and working with Dr. Krieg and Bob Lott, we were able to be able to demonstrate those technologies. And in 2015, we had those field walks in 13 in Floyd County. In 15, we'll be expanding to 4 other counties. We would like to give each one of you a special invitation. Samantha Morstead, that's sitting right over here, she's waving her hand. If you're not currently on our email list, if you would get her your email address, she'll make you aware of when and where every one of these field walks will be happening. The first things I'm going to tell you are not necessarily good news. What's happening with us, we understand what's happening with Oklahoma in this region, and what's happening as far as water supply and water decline. What's happening is happening all over the world. When you look at the oranges, reds, and maroons, these are areas that have from moderate to severe water stress scenarios. So what we're seeing is worldwide. When we look at underground water, you can see the blue line. This is the amount of water in storage worldwide. The blue line represents the Oklahoma. These other lines represent other major aquifers around the world, China, Australia, and other aquifers. So what we're seeing here is not unique to what's happening worldwide. And of course, the Oklahoma is such a major component of production agriculture in the U.S. 174,000 acres furnishes water to portions of 8 states. And basically, in the Oklahoma, about 95% of all the water that's used is used for production agriculture. When we look at irrigation water used statewide in Texas, about 65% of all the water extracted is used for production agriculture. These are the most up-to-date maps I've been able to find. This is from the USGS program. And what this shows is, we'll talk about 1950 as pre-development of irrigation in the Oklahoma aquifer. And you can see the percent decline. Here's Lubbock right here. And the oranges and the pinks are where we've had the most significant decline in saturated thickness. So how much of that water have we used in basically 65 years? This region has used about 50% of all water we had in storage, based on the USGS. We look at Nebraska. Nebraska has the largest number of acres of irrigated agriculture in the United States, about 8.2 million. Texas is number 4, with California and Arkansas actually having more irrigated acres than we do. But they've also got 65% of the total water in storage in the Oklahoma is in Nebraska. We've got 12.5% in Texas. So they're looking to us. We're actually going to Nebraska later on this month to speak at a water symposium. They see us as what's eventually going to happen to them in the future, so they're interested in what we're doing down here. When we bring that into more localized information, what have we learned as far as how much water that we've actually extracted? This would be 2003, and if we call this 100%, this line represents what happened in this area right here, and this is Floyd and Hill County. This is our phase 1 demonstration area. So from 2003 to 2014, we basically had a 24% reduction in the potable water in wells in that region. And this data came from High Plains Underground Water District. We wanted to try to learn more about kind of what was going on. This actually shows drawdown in an existing well that's in the project. And this was 2012, and you can see when we kick that well off, we get an immediate drop in water level. But then when we quit irrigating in the winter months, we come back to a static water level. But what we're seeing is each year that's declining. So this reinforces what we can see visually below ground, what we're seeing above ground. We took that a step further and we put a monitor in an abandoned well to see if we were seeing the same tendency as far as continuous decline of the static water level. And that's what we saw. So we're continuing to monitor these wells to try to understand more about our decline and about the recharge. Of course, we're very appreciative to the Texas Water Development Board because they are our funding agency. We just completed phase 1. 2014 was the first year of phase 2. One of the primary differences is that we've included 6 additional counties. So we've got 8 counties involved in the project now. We have a producer board that basically directs all the efforts of the project. They're very engaged as far as giving us direction on things from a producer standpoint that they want to see us look at. Of course, our goal is to try to figure out how we can use less water through technologies and still at least maintain profitability, and we hope maybe we can actually increase profitability and identify the crops and the systems that allow us to do that, and then try to figure out ways to help disseminate that information to producers. And that's where you guys are the key component, because y'all work with producers on a daily basis. So anything that you can bring to them, whatever type of technology that it might be, to help them do a better job with their water, understanding water efficiency and the mechanisms of water in the soil is so critical to help us to reach our goals. Of course, we're looking at all the major crops that are grown in the region. The one that's really declined significantly because of 2011 is the livestock forage component. We'll see what happens with that in the future. Of course, we're looking at all the major primary types of irrigation delivery systems, but in 2015 we'll be looking at 2 new technologies, and I'm sure a lot of you are aware of this precision drip application using drag lines on existing pivots you basically get some of the benefits of drip irrigation but using an existing pivot. One of the keys to this is the reduced cost as compared to putting drip in. I'm not going to spend any time on variable rate because Brad Bill's on the program later on this afternoon, and we'll be talking about variable rate technology. We'll be continuing to demonstrate the capacitance probes, the smart fill technology, and of course we are able to keep up with how much total water is being applied using meters, and then the field walks. So at each one of the field walks this summer will be at either one of the variable rate sites, or will be at a site that has the drag line and liquid versus spray delivery system for pivots. The drag line, you do have the option for high profile crops or lower profile crops like wheat and cotton. And again, I'll let Jerry talk about or whoever in his group. They'll probably talk about the variable rate technology. So at Glenn Shearer's farm, we'll have a span of a pivot that will be conventional spray. We'll have a span that will be the drip. We'll have a span that will be leap up on 40-inch centers. And then our plan is also there's quite a bit of interest in running bubblers every 40 inches versus every 8 inches. And so what we'll be able to do then is get yield data so that we can put a dollar value of what that technology is bringing to the table, so that it'll aid the grower in determining whether that's cost effective for his operation. Can he afford to spend the money to install the technologies? We'll also be demonstrating smart field. Of course, we've gotten some really good information from the capacitance probes to help growers visualize what's going on in the ground. And I think I'm going to stop right there because I wanted to really let you know about our field walks. And again, if it's something that you'd be interested in, and or after the water college, we had some requests, or had a request from a consultant down below Capron that wanted to have some field walks in his area. He's got some growers that has incorporated some of the technology, and we're more than willing to work with any of you in any way that we possibly can to help you promote water conservation and water efficiency.